Forget all you know about podcasts. We welcome you to an experience uniquely different. Please join us for our coverage of all entertainment on the fringe of society. The candles are lit, the lights are down low. It is now time to welcome our host as he steps up to the pulpit. The sacrifice has been prepared for the midnight black mass.
Ghastly greetings, groovy ghoulies, and welcome to the wildest ride in internet wrestling radio. It is the Midnight Black Mass. I am your host, the maniacal minister of the occult, the devil you know, the Reverend, the Dragon, Dan Wilson, along with my co-host, the man who makes the panties drop faster than Conway Twitty and a bottle of Jose Cuervo, Mr. Andrew Alexander. Welcome to the show, brother.
I think that's the best compliment I've ever received.
I do what I can. I got to put you over.
From a man. From a man, anyway.
Well, thanks to everyone for the favorable response on episodes 1 and 2. It's onward and upward here on the program as we continue with the new format here on Volume 6. Lots of segments. It's a variety show, if you will, a cornucopia of various entertainment. There's wrestling and so much more as you get to step into our warped and twisted minds for an hour and change here on the Midnight Black Mass. So we're back tonight. Of course, we've got Promo or Porno coming up. We've got Dear Andy to end the show. Tales of the Single Man Fuckerfail is coming up later, as well as Old Man Haters. All of the segments you're growing to love here on the new format. And I promise we'll be getting some interviews back in the rotation, as well as our various top 5 and top 10 episodes that we've been talking about. Those are going to be fun. We want to get you used to the new format first, so we're gonna beat it into your skull until you're familiar with it. And then we'll start adding in some of the old touches that you know and love and remember from the previous volumes. Also, Tank will be back with us, telling us how you might be a shitbird. So you might want to listen to that as we go into commercial break. What's been going on with you this week? How was your week?
It's been fine. It's been a little eventful. Of course, we'll hear about that a little bit later. But got some good stories. I feel that this podcast may make me a worse human being when it comes to the ladies. You know, because now, I mean, before sometimes I would think, you know, I should try to get away with this or do that or, you know, push it to the limit for a good story. But now I feel even more inclined to do that since I'm sharing these stories with all of our listeners. It just puts wacky thoughts in my head that shouldn't be there. But, you know, I want to keep everything entertaining for the show here.
You got to take one for the team. You bleed for your audience, so at least figuratively, I hope.
Well, maybe I won't be doing the bleeding, but I'm sure that could come up somewhere along the line.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear more about that. I had a good week. I wrapped up a commentary gig with Pro South Wrestling. Myself and Al Getz did a commentary on their big event that was headlined by AJ Styles and Jimmy Rave. It was always fun getting back in the commentary seat. If you want the Dragon for your event, email me at dragonsrejects@gmail.com for booking information. I do voiceover work. I can come to you, or I can do it from right here at the house, which is even better. So hit me up and let me know something if you're interested. But also got a massive Throner boner this week. I know you're not caught up, so I'll keep it spoiler-free. But Game of Thrones was the shit.
Well, now I feel bad. You're having to bite your tongue because how many episodes are left this season?
It was episode 8 that aired as we record this, which will be a couple of weeks behind that. So the season finale will probably air by the time this actually hits the air. But people will remember season 8 or episode 8 rather of this season for a long time. Let's just say we've been talking about winter's coming. Well, that motherfucker is here, pal.
Oh, man.
Shit has officially hit the fan. Winter finally arrived.
As soon as this season's over, I'm gonna get on it and I'm gonna watch them. I'll knock them out pretty quick. I just got behind, and I figured, and I love to binge watch when I can, so I'll definitely get on that in the season, and I'll try to knock it out as soon as it's out there, and we'll discuss it in depth.
That'd be great. We could just do a whole recap on the season. What is it, season 4 or season 5? I'm having trouble remembering. I think this is 5.
Yeah, I think this is 5.
So, but yeah, this episode 8 of this past season was one you could not fucking miss. It has probably the greatest action scene in the history of the show, and that's saying something. Just a huge fucking Game of Thrones fan. Like, to me, it touches on so many relevant social issues while being set in a medieval session or a medieval time period, of course, in a fantasy world, but just brutal and relentless, but like that's how you get your hooks dug in as far as the characters and wanting to root for them and follow them and seeing them triumph because they just dump heap loads of shit on them constantly. In the wrestling business, that's called getting heat. And I'm glad to see that some mediums are not afraid to still do that in order to make the baby face look strong. And that's what Game of Thrones does constantly, though. Sometimes you get a little hopeless there. You got to wonder if they're ever going to get a comeback.
You don't want to take too much heat.
Yeah, they do straddle the line from time to time of maybe taking a little too much heat because sometimes you're like, God damn, are these fucking kids ever going to catch a break? Or is he going to keep slaughtering more of them or what? But
I
they
think
do.
I think that's kind of just more like real life because, I mean, sometimes you just go through long stretches of life where all you're doing is taking heat. No hope spots, no comeback. You're just getting shit on left and right. So maybe it's got a little more realism than people realize. Hey, do you think we could use Game of Thrones to somehow teach some shitbirds out there how to work? Like maybe see you can take heat. You feel bad for this person because they're just getting the shit kicked out of them so much, and you want to see him make that fiery comeback, or do you think that's a waste of time like everything else?
If they're smart enough to understand Game of Thrones, then hopefully they wouldn't be a shitbird. But then again, I don't know. That's a tough question. But if you could get them to understand the concepts of Game of Thrones, yes, I think so. I think it would be beneficial. I think, and that's what WWE tells people too, by the way, in their promos is don't watch wrestling, obviously, to study and learn how to work and learn the history of things. But for psychology, watch great movies and television shows and read books and comics and, get ideas for your character, quote unquote, which I hate using that word, but get ideas for that from other mediums because everybody's going to be stealing from wrestling. But if you steal from other mediums, people aren't so fucking quick to catch on. If you make it your own, then, you can steal from lots of different places and just put it together.
Oh, man, I love to steal from everything in the world except wrestling, which, I can borrow or steal from wrestling sometimes, but if it's outside of wrestling, it's free game.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Well, speaking of wrestling, let's move along to the Wrestle News section of the program. A few big news stories coming out this week. Before we get into the actual news as far as, like, in the business, I just want to pay some quick respects to a couple of figures that passed away since our last broadcast, to important figures in their own right in the wrestling business. The first being Miss Susan Meeks, who was a beloved figure in the state of Georgia and all over the South for many years. She was a fan for many years. I know she worked in various different wrestling offices. Most fondly remembered as Dusty Rhodes' personal assistant in Turnbuckle Championship Wrestling. It was a very nice lady. I remember when I worked in the old Atlanta booking office for Bill Barron's, she would call there often. This is Susan Meeks. I have Dusty Rhodes for Bill Barron's. And she was always just so friendly and nice. And I really hate to hear that. So, condolences to her friends and family. And I didn't know her very well, but every encounter I had with her was positive. And if you don't know somebody very well, but you leave a positive impression on them, I think that's a good thing. So I don't know if you were very familiar with Susan or ever had any encounters with her.
I did meet her once. It was only once, but it's a story I'll just never forget. She was, like you said, she was really nice. She was extremely friendly. Dusty Rhodes was appearing at a Nashville wrestling show for Burt Prentice, and I can't even remember why I was there, but I know I wasn't on the card. I was just there as a fan, and she asked me to go get Dusty Rhodes a 12-pack of beer, which I was more than happy to get the Dream a 12-pack of beer, except for I was only 20. So I had to find a complete stranger to give a ride to the store to buy Dusty Rhodes some beer. And we bring him back a 12-pack, and she says, you can get a picture with Dusty if you want for going to get that for us. I really appreciate it. And I was like, well, sure, of course. So I'll take I'll take one of the Polaroids in the ring with Dusty Rhodes. He's Dusty Rhodes. He's the man's a legend and everything. So I had a little mark out moment and just took a little picture with him. And then later on in the evening, I saw Dusty kind of reading her the riot act a little bit. And I later went over to her and I said, hey, why was Dusty mad at you? And she said, oh, he counted the money for the pictures and realized there was one short. So I felt bad because he got on that ass a little bit because he thought he was being hustled. But, it was just giving me a little something for going to get him the beer. So I think he should have been cool with it. But like you said, she was super nice to me. She was just seemed like a real class act. That's the only time I met her, but it was just such a little story and something I'll never forget. So yeah, I was definitely sad to hear about that.
Fucking Dusty. Oh man, he's a trip.
I can't picture him getting mad though, but I can picture him be like, Susan baby, I just noticed that this money's a little short. The American Dream posed for so many Polaroids tonight. How would you do this to me, Susan baby? And that's what I picture. I can't even picture him being mad.
I think he's doing the Sweet Sapphire plead. I bought your diamond ring. I bought your mink coat.
That's not my business. That's Susan Meeks' business.
But bless her heart, very sad to hear, and respect to the American Dream as well. Like I said, she was integral in his operations. Very much, Turnbuckle might have fallen apart without her. She was very, very heavily involved in the day-to-day of that promotion. And the other wrestling star that passed away, one half of the Fantastics, Mr. Tommy Rogers, who unfortunately unceremoniously passed away at his home at the age of 54 in Hawaii. He was a guy just years ahead of his time in the ring. One of the great tag team wrestlers of all time. I love the Fantastics. Like every territory the Rock and Roll Express weren't in, they were the most over babyface tag team that ever hit the territory. And then in the places Rock and Roll were, they still came along and did good business behind them. But in Texas in particular, they were just absolutely huge and world class. But of course, lots of people fondly remember them from the national television days in the NWA on the Superstation TBS when they were the two-time NWA U.S. Tag Team Champions. And just very sad. Another one of the boys apparently was having legal trouble. He was found unresponsive on his couch. Apparently it was just at like WrestleMania weekend a few weeks before, posing with Ric Flair and all of his buddies. And just always sad to hear a guy taken before his time. 54 is up there in life, but it's still a young man in terms of it's up there as far as being a wrestler, but in terms of the overall lifespan, you're still got a few more good years, and really sad to hear. What are your thoughts on Tommy?
Man, and I haven't seen as much of the Fantastics as I should. I'm definitely familiar with them, and I've seen them, and everything I've seen of them is awesome. But I didn't study them as much as like a Midnight Express or an Arn & Tully or a Hart Foundation mainly because they were baby faces, and I was always focused on trying to be such a heel, and they weren't the Rock and Roll Express, so I think they kind of get forgotten about a little bit just for that reason. I think they're him specifically, extremely underrated. Everything I saw of him just looked so smooth, so good. He was one of those guys. There were just so many guys back in the territory days that were just so good and just made it all look so easy and just kind of so perfect. And I remember when he did some matches in ECW in the late 90s, just at that time being like, he came in and I just kind of being like, wait, who is this guy? Oh, okay, I remember, and you look through the old magazines and maybe some old VHSs, you're like, oh, okay, what in the world? But then he just had these awesome matches, which I know a lot of ECW stuff doesn't hold up. Stuff I've seen, some of the violent stuff, it doesn't hold up as much as when you're younger and when you're a kid. But I think that stuff really would, because all the technical wrestling ECW produced was pretty top notch. And I just remember he coming out of nowhere and he had matches with Candido. I think he did a couple tags, and just like really good stuff. It would seem very random, but I guess Paul Heyman was just like, hey, here's a talented dude we can get for some shots, so let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, he was even in WCW on the underneath after that. I think that kind of revitalized his career for a little bit. And, he got a little bit of a second run kind of as an underneath guy, but, he was still making a paycheck for many years. And that was even in TNA recently, I'd heard. So,
and he was in good shape. I mean, he was in good shape.
Oh, he was.
I haven't seen him recently.
Every time I see him.
He was in great shape even later on, which is always great. So, yeah, it's like you said. It's sad when any of the boys, whether you met them or not, because a lot of times, and there's probably fans of his that followed him his whole career, and it's just you get to know these guys, and you feel like you know them, and you feel like you have a bit of a personal connection with them, because it's even a little different than maybe other sports, because wrestling, it's you're so visual and you cut all these promos and just things like that. I mean, I know sports has gotten into that quite a bit more as technology advances and stuff. But it just seems like you. Plus, in a year, in a season of the NFL, how many football players are there? In a year on national televised wrestling, how many wrestlers are there? It's a much smaller number when you really think about it. So you kind of build a connection with these guys.
Oh, you do, and you're trusting your bodies with them. There's an intimate level of respect, even with guys you don't like, because of the risk that's involved in getting into the ring in the first place. So, it's a very tight brotherhood in that respect that somewhat has devolved in recent years. That's the word I'm looking for. If I can speak English tonight, that'd be great. But that it's still there, and it always will be there for those reasons. So when you lose a member of that brotherhood or sisterhood, in the case of Susan Meeks, it's a really sad thing. So we're going to toll the bell 10 times out of respect to our fallen comrades. All right, respect and rest in peace, Susan Meeks and Tommy Rogers. Moving along into wrestle news. On a lighter note, big news in WWE, probably one of the most shocking things to happen in many recent years, but a good thing for business in any school of wrestling thought when an established star puts over an up-and-comer, and we saw it on the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view where Kevin Owens, who is the talk of the wrestling world right now, pinned John Cena clean in the middle of the ring, which is something very few people can say. What do you think about it?
Man, it was clean as a whistle. I mean, because I really expected Kevin Owens to go over in this match. I guess I kind of hoped. I hope they were doing a little bit more of it than just a one-shot deal. So I really expected him to win in this match, but I definitely thought there would be, some cheating or something. But no, he pinned him right in the middle. And like you said, that's rare, especially for just a new guy kind of on the roster. Which he's not a new guy by any means, but I mean that was his first WWE match.
No, that's what we
So
call
that's
the
a big deal.
motherfucking rocket strapped to the ass. Is what that is called. It's unprecedented. I mean, and it's good because clearly they have faith in that guy, and the people are responding to it. So I think it's going to do good business for him. But I mean, that's the way you do it. That's the way you get a new talent over.
Yeah, and I've not been particularly a fan of his independent stuff. I thought he did kind of way too much, which he did some of those things in that match, which, I mean, the crowd was into it, and he's getting over, so, you know, it doesn't matter what I think, but I just thought he did just a little too much, too many high spots or other people's finishes as his own just signature moves and things. But
I got to agree. I heard JR talking about just how he thought there was way too many false finishes in that match, and I would agree with that because like clearly they're coming back with it. Where the hell are you going to go? But it was an excellent match.
Yeah, I think he could have saved. You know, I think he could have saved a couple things. I mean, I know he does the swanton off the top rope, which I wouldn't even want him to do. But I mean, he does it. It looks nice. It's definitely going to get over. I don't see why you wouldn't have saved maybe that spot, maybe a couple other little things. But you know, you can't deny that. And he's been I think he's a pretty good promo. He has that presence. He looks like he belongs, and the stuff he said so far, it seems very legit. He was actually the guest this past week on Chris Jericho's podcast, and he was talking about how his son was such a John Cena fan, and that's how he kind of convinced his son, you know, because they had to move from Montreal to Florida. And he told his son, you know, if we move there, Daddy may get to wrestle John Cena. So his son was cool with it. You know, and he said all that stuff on Raw, talked about how he didn't like it. He was his son's hero and a hero for all these kids. And then they had this great promo segment on Raw, and Cena knocked it out of the park, I think. So it's been very good stuff. A couple little things I would have tweaked in the match, but hey, what do I know? I'm not John Cena. I'm not Kevin Owens. I'm not making all that money, and the crowd was eating it up, and the internet stayed it up. I mean, it was definitely the most memorable thing from that pay-per-view by leaps and bounds. So,
yeah, it's interesting. They're kind of abandoning the standard babyface heel dynamic, but in the same respect, I've heard Cena get more cheers in this whole deal than I've heard him get in months. So it seems to be working, whatever they're doing. Like you said, not necessarily what I do, but what do we know? We're not working for $1 million company, so we're just assholes with opinions.
And I'm always so interested in. I mean, I've just seen them have talented guys that they wouldn't strap the rocket to. You know what I mean? Like they would give little chances, but they would pull back, or they just wouldn't push with it. And I wonder what they see in him that they've not seen in so many other people come down the pipe, where they're like, okay, this guy's going to beat John Cena in his first match. You know what I mean? Like, what's the basis behind this decision?
He certainly breaks the mold of every preconception of what WWE says they want in a superstar. You know, for years when we were under that bubble and, you know, new people that were getting in there, it was like, not that we still don't and know people that will, but, you know, there would seem to be like one guy after the next. They were looking for a specific body type and a specific background, and he's not any of those things, but somehow he puts it all together and he makes it work. Like you said, he looks like he belongs. And I was pretty well sold on him after the match with Cena. I think, you know, the guy can deliver the goods at that style, at that level, which is not the same as the independent level. I don't care how great you are on the indies. It's just a whole different ball game working in front of that many people.
Oh, definitely. I think, and they seem to they meshed really well together. You know, I didn't see a lot of hiccup. I mean,
the good old school brawl.
Yeah, just the first time working together, you know, on television like that, and you know, there wasn't a lot of missed spots or missed time spots or anything. I mean, it was really solid stuff. I'm looking forward to see where it goes, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, that's the biggest topic in wrestling news, so we'll go ahead and move on to the old man haters. We'll take a quick break. You'll hear from Tank with the first shitbird break of the night and a commercial, and we'll be back with old man haters. Don't go anywhere.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the shitbird break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you spent $300 on your new gear but didn't pay your child support, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the shitbird break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
The Midnight Black Mass is pleased to announce we have become an affiliate of the World Wrestling Network at WWNLive.com, the home of the finest iPay-per-view and video on demand in all of professional wrestling, featuring promotions like Dragon Gate USA, Evolve, Combat Zone Wrestling, OVW, Shimmer, Shine, $5 Wrestling, and the vaunted Kayfabe commentaries with their U-Shoot, their guest booker, and their timeline series. You have to check it out. Of course, you can always go to their main page at WWNLive.com, but if you will, do us a solid, go to Facebook.com/PottyHumor or follow me on Twitter at Dragons Rejects. We'll be posting our own unique links to these events as affiliates. If you go through our link, they give us a little kickback, and we greatly appreciate it.
Whether you're having an autograph session, personal appearance, or live event, we got just the person you need to contact for all of those needs. SBI Bookings is home of some of the best stars in the wrestling industry today. They provide you with the best talent this business has to offer, from Kevin Nash, Larry Zbyszko, Scott Steiner, and many, many more. So who will you contact next time you're planning an event? The men of SBI Bookings.
Oh man, why do you hate everything new? Partly because I don't understand it, and partly because fuck you. It's time for Old Man Haters.
What's wrong with you?
It's either this show or indigestion. I hope it's indigestion.
Why?
It'll get better in a little while.
And we're back with Old Man Haters here on the Midnight Black Mass. This is where we air our grievances on a weekly basis and hike up our pants and get real nice and crotchety and surly. So we're going to start it off. Oftentimes, so far, even 3 episodes in, there's a lot of bitching on Old Man Haters about behavior online and the way people conduct themselves. And the topic of my first bitch session here on Old Man Haters is why you gotta be a dick. Social media is just this platform where people say the most fucking awful shit to each other. And it just seems to be a never-ending cycle of this bullshit. Somebody posts an opinion, and if it's somewhat strong or somewhat controversial, immediately you got somebody in there trying to discredit them. And you never see a civilized discussion where people, or you rarely, I won't say you never do, but it's pretty fucking rare, where people state their opinions from opposite sides of an issue and either agree to disagree or come to a mutual understanding, at least explaining their positions without resulting to fucking insulting each other and doing horrible, horrible things. The most recent, all the stuff with Caitlyn Jenner online. Now, as far as that fucking family, you could set them on fucking fire and I wouldn't give a fuck. The Kardashians are just, who gives a fuck? They're fodder for fucking idiots to watch on television. Nobody cares. That being said, I understand why people think that's a big deal. There's a whole segment of the population that has been pretty well condescended to and insulted. I guess a lot of part out of ignorance, a lot of part out of just people not understanding. I don't think people are really that mean overall. I think a lot of it is just not understood. I don't get it. But if that's the way you want to live your life, that's fucking cool with me. It don't fucking hurt me none. So awesome. If you're fucking happy, I'm happy. I don't fucking care. Be who you want to be, man. But the fucking reaction to that shit, oh my God. Like, people just fucking coming out of the woodworks. People arguing against it for it. People for it arguing with each other because they didn't say the right word. And it's just like, there's so much fucking hostility, and it gets on my fucking nerves. Take a fucking chill pill. We all gotta fucking share this goddamn rock. As much as we fucking annoy the shit out of each other sometimes, so let's try to fucking to treat each other with a little common fucking decency. That's all.
I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I don't understand it. You know, if chopping your balls off makes you happy, more power to you. But it doesn't affect me if he wants to be a woman, or if anybody wants to be a woman, or if a woman wants to be a man. That's cool. I don't care. That's not going to bother me at all. It doesn't affect me at all. So how people can get personally offended, I just don't get it. It has nothing to do with you. It's not about you. I'm sure he didn't make that decision thinking, oh, what's someone in Tallapoosa, Georgia, going to think about my decision? You know. And people have gotten so upset. I've seen so much stuff on Facebook and just sharing pictures of soldiers with, you know, injured soldiers and things like this. And it says, this is a hero. And then it showed the picture from the magazine cover. This is not a hero. Man, yes, obviously that's true. And I'm sure that people that are calling Bruce, Caitlin, whatever, a hero, I'm sure they would not argue with the fact that troops that fight for our freedom are not heroes. It's just so silly. I mean, she is a celebrity. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. That's how it's always going to be. I'm not saying it's right, but it's the way it is. And no one's going out there and saying this person's a real hero. He just came out just so brave to let everyone know he wanted to be a woman. That is brave. That's probably hard to do. I can't imagine being like on the podcast, I've decided to be a woman. That would have quite the backlash. And, you know, I don't have millions of eyes watching me. I don't have millions and millions of people following my life and knowing who I am, you know. He is brave for that. No one's disputing that anyone that fights in war or anything like that, they're not brave. So I don't understand how that even became a thing. Like,
I don't see how him, like, trying to shed light on a type of people's circumstance and place in society, like, takes away from the courage and bravery of a soldier going to battle. To me, it's like two different types of bravery. It's not even in the same volume. It's comparing apples to fucking oranges completely. And of course, because it somewhat relates to sex, it's got this entire, which is why we kind of push those buttons here on the show, because fuck them. People are so uptight about sex. Like, sex is a fucking bodily function like shitting. But it's much more enjoyable. Most of the time. I've had some pretty enjoyable shit.
I've taken some enjoyable shit and had some horrible sex. So that's debatable right there in itself.
But people just, like, they really need to get over the fucking taboo of it. Like, if we can talk about it more open and honestly, you're not going to have all of the negative side effects of sex being taboo in a culture because people are taught it's such a horrible, bad thing. They're not responsible with it. They're not even fucking educated about it. And then they go on and cause more online debate. So, like, don't be such a fucking dick. That's my point on Old Man Haters this week.
Yeah, I think if you don't have to like it, you don't have to appreciate it, you don't have to want to be educated. You know, I think you don't have to want to be positive about it in any way, shape, or form. But if you feel that, it's just don't worry about it. It doesn't affect you. But I don't know. That's never going to change either. There's always going to be people that judge and are quick to judge and are holier than thou.
Yeah. Well, fuck them. So I heard
stupid asses.
you had an item you wanted to bitch about regarding said Elimination Chamber pay-per-view.
Man, I did. I think before I jump into that, though, I want to touch on something really quick, going back to what we were talking about. It ties in to kind of everything in the show. I think it is. I found it very interesting that Tank, with his "you might be a shitbird" thing, is just really taken off. And I actually saw that he's actually going to get some shirts made and start selling shitbird shirts. And I would love to see if any shitbirds actually wear them, but you know, he may have stumbled upon something that makes him the most money he's ever made in his wrestling career, just for being an old, bitchy old man sitting at home behind the keyboard. But you know something that makes a shitbird? Somebody that wrestles in, like, denim shorts. You know something else that makes a shitbird? Someone that wrestles in, like, a T-shirt and Walmart workout shorts that's out of shape. You know the best match on the WWE's pay-per-view contained both of those people. So pretty soon it's just going to be completely okay to be a total shitbird, and there's nothing we can do about it.
That's true.
I mean, I just never thought that Kevin Owens' look, not only would it get over, that it would be pretty much allowed. I just couldn't picture Vince.
You know, he's wearing athletic gear. He's wearing workout shorts. This isn't the damn gym. This isn't the YMCA gym. This is the WWE, damn it. We've got to be trending. We can't have Adidas shorts trending.
So I was definitely, I can't believe that that's even allowed, you know, and he had some work done to him to where now I guess it's custom gear, but it still looks like regular old athletic shorts you would get from Walmart or Target or Kmart or something. So I think every fat, out of shape shitbird in the Southeast now is going to be doing flips off the top rope in their Walmart shorts, and when you say something to them, they're, well, Kevin Owens does it, and you're just going to have to sit there and go, I guess so. Kevin Owens does do it.
Oh, I've seen shitbirds at the WWE events, like taking pictures with fans, like trying to pass themselves off as Kevin Owens. So it's already begun.
Yeah, we know a couple Kevin Owens looking guys.
It's a pretty common look on the indie scene.
But the thing about Elimination Chamber that just really put me in a bad mood watching it was, and I don't know specifics. Maybe these guys got together and said, "Oh, we're gonna trick the smart marks," but it just didn't look like that to me. Wade Barrett, I believe it was Wade Barrett. He threw, I want to say, Dolph Ziggler into Mark Henry's pod, and the glass broke so Mark Henry could get out early before he was supposed to. And for starters, why would you just randomly throw, if those things are that sensitive to break, why would you just randomly throw them into a spot like that if it's not, you know, pre-planned to build to something? But Mark Henry comes out of his pod at the Elimination Chamber early, and, man, this match absolutely falls apart. I mean, these guys are so blatantly lost. You can hear them trying to communicate with either the referee or with each other. Dolph Ziggler especially trying to cover this up and try to make some sense of it. But, man, I could not believe that not only were these were guys that some of them are highly regarded as exceptional talents, like a Dolph Ziggler, like a Wade Barrett, and then R-Truth and Mark Henry, who have 20 years experience each, roughly. They're out there, and this match is just, it turns into shit. I mean, these guys are so lost. I mean, did you see this? Did you go back and watch this?
Yes, I did, and like when Sheamus got stuck in the cage, it was just like if it hadn't fallen apart, it completely went off the rails at that point. They were just stopped, stood around, and were looking.
Well, I think that was planned because later when he got out, he had his necklace like jammed into the thing so it wouldn't open. But no one would have picked up on that.
Okay, never mind.
They barely showed it. No one would have picked up on it because the commentators didn't touch it at all. The camera pans to him. He finally opens the door, and he's got his necklace in his hand. He's laughing. You see him pull it out of the little bracket, and they never mention it. They're just talking about, I don't know what they're talking about, trending on Twitter or the WWE Network, which is only $9.99, which you're clearly watching if you're watching the event, so you know it's $9.99. They never touched on that. But you're right, that did look awkward, but it made more sense once they showed that, Sheamus did this on purpose. He was being a cowardly heel. But, man, maybe one of the referees on the outside or in the inside could have told Mark Henry, hey, stay in your pod until, your time is up. I don't care if there's a door here or not. And I know it's a no disqualification type match, but maybe Mark Henry plays the role of a babyface since he was a babyface until the next night, and maybe he listens to the referee's authority. I know that's a crazy shock to think about in wrestling today, but it seems like back in the day, if the referees told you not to do something and you were a babyface, you didn't do it because you weren't supposed to. I know that's too 80s for wrestling nowadays, but just the fact that he did come out early and, things weren't going as planned, and, man, they just completely lost it. They were just so lost. I don't understand how that much talent could have been that much of deer in headlights to not be able to come up with something on the fly. That just shows you how much is dependent on not actually working and just memorizing things. Because, it was bad.
That's I
found it unacceptable. If that happened at just an independent show, I would be furious. I would be crawling in guys' asses, just reaming them new ones, yelling at them so much. And they're not guys making hundreds of thousands of dollars that have been doing this professionally for most of their adult lives, probably most of those guys. I just did not understand how that could fall apart that poorly.
Yeah, it was pretty hard to watch. You felt bad for the guys because, like you said, a lot of talent in the ring there. You never want to see that happen. A tough match, I understand. That's not the easiest match to just vamp in. But, the style is not conducive to it either. So, in any event, we've only got a few minutes here to move into the next segment. So we're going to do that. And we're going to talk about a little Tales of the Single Man. We're going to find out, did he fuck or fail? Coming back on the Midnight Black Mass.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you think ring psychology is a college course, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
Wrestling fans, Anarchy Wrestling television tapings are the second and fourth Saturdays of every month at 4236 Level Grove Road in Cornelia, Georgia. For more information on Anarchy Wrestling and on the shows, to watch the television product, and a whole lot more, go to anarchy-wrestling.net. That's Anarchy Wrestling, the second and fourth Saturdays of every month in Cornelia, Georgia.
Where can you find 24/7 pro wrestling, MMA, talk radio, and more? BeyondRingside.com, featuring 24/7 streaming audio, including the Midnight Black Mass, Sundays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, except for pay-per-view weekends when they run a mini marathon and the Midnight Black Mass goes on as its namesake at midnight. But don't forget the other great shows like Beyond Ringside, Wrestle Rage, To Be Determined, and more. That's BeyondRingside.com.
In a world filled with sluts, whores, and women who make questionable choices, one man sets out to fuck them all. Will our hero fuck or fail?
Okay, it's time to find out the latest and greatest in the life of our resident Casanova, Andrew Alexander. Andrew, what kind of adventures do you have for us this week?
Well, as we know, in last week's episode, we had a bit of a to be continued. And let's just review real quick. We go to a nice dinner at a restaurant, popular restaurant, to celebrate the first episode of the Volume 6 Midnight Black Mass. The waitress is attractive, has a nice ass. I feel the need to tell her this. I feel the need to go out on their patio deck area and, you know, cops a little feel of this ass. End up getting a little HJ out there. Hopefully she did not wash her hands before returning to work and continue to serve people food. And fast forward to a couple days later, she met me at a bar. Before going home, I'm still a little unsure because I didn't want to bring it up, but I'm still a little unsure about the marital status. I really think that they are separated, that they do have a child together, and you know that can create problems. But one night after work, before going home to her on-again, off-again husband, she met me at a bar in Scenic City, Chattanooga, Tennessee, and gave me quite the blowjob in this parking lot. Now I consider that not failing, but I just had to push it. I had to go for our listeners. I had to seal the deal. And now I know everyone's wanting to know, did I fuck or did I fail? It's up in the air. I'll have everyone know that I invited this lady to my house. Nice young lady comes to visit one night. Things are going well, but it's more of an awkward situation than I feel that it should have. You know, considering I've already bricked in this chick's mouth, it seems like it's kind of an easier segue. You know, I mean, she swallowed like 15 to 20 of my unborn children. It seems like it would just be like a whip your dick out, but you know, it's just not feeling like that opportunity. No, I wouldn't say nervous is the word. I just don't see my opportunity. We're just kind of hanging out, sitting around, when suddenly her phone rings. Who could it be on the other end of the line? I hear her say, "Oh, hi, Mom." It's the mom. So I use a classic move. I mean, I think it's classic. It works, so it's a good move. But I start kind of messing with her when she's on the phone because I like to see people squirm. You know, you're on the phone with your mom. You don't want to be getting felt up and your ass smacked and things such as that. Of course, that's exactly what I start doing to make her just a little uncomfortable, yet at the same time getting her a little relaxed, making her loosen up a little bit. So this phone conversation, she cuts it short because I figured I could probably get things really going while she's on the phone with her mom, and that's very funny to me, and that makes for a great story that I'm sharing now. But the phone conversation ends quickly, and I'm like, oh, man, now what? And there was no now what. Next thing I know, she's just taking her shorts off, setting things free, and I'll have you know that our hero very, very, very successfully fucked, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, congratulations.
Well, congratulations to her because I think I did a pretty good job. I wouldn't put it my best performance or anything. I mean, I wasn't wearing her ass like a hat like I should have, but
wait. So you wore the ass like a hat. Now you need to give me more details here. Were we talking a fitted? We talking snapback, a fedora,
no.
a pork chop, a cowboy hat?
No. I didn't wear the hats like I should have. I took it a little easier because despite the story and how it sounds, I think this girl's kind of a nice girl. You know, she's the type that maybe you don't stick a thumb in her ass without telling her first. You know, I think you kind of be a little bit nicer to her. So I took it easy. I didn't get too crazy.
Well, that was mighty kind of you, I suppose. While she sorted out her other life and figured out what was going on there, maybe if you gave it the A+ game, then you might have never got rid of her. So probably a good thing.
Definitely. I'm guessing this is just a guess on my part, but I think she's probably separated. She's kind of seeing what's out there, and the first thing she came upon was me. So if my past is any indicator, she will run back to her husband. She will realize that the single life is not something she needs to try out.
Oh shit!
Will I do it again? Well, maybe. You know, it was fun. It was okay, but then again, on the other hand, you know, at this point, I need just a good story. Is she really going to top Handy and chicken wings? I mean, I don't know. So we'll see about that. But, I mean, I definitely consider it a success. 2 thumbs up.
Well, that's good that you had success in the first extended fuck or fail. This was, like, drawn out over 2 episodes at least.
Yeah, 2 episodes.
And, of course, the Ram's a little hard of hearing, folks. Not, like, to a dangerous degree or anything, but before I even had a wrestling career, I spent years as a front man in a metal band and played in a lot of loud clubs for a really long time, and I still go to a lot of concerts. So sometimes I will hear parts of what he says and come back and say, oh, so you did that, and then he has to correct me. So that's what the fuck happened there, if you were wanting to know. But hey, nothing wrong with wearing the ass like a hat.
No, I mean, there's definitely girls you break that out on, and especially the first time. You know, maybe we'll see if anything happens again, and then I'll be like, you know, sit on my face.
Assuming all parties are consenting adults, mind you.
Yes, of course.
Well, we're going to get along to some promo or porno action coming up here in just a little bit, but still moving right along here on the Midnight Black Mass. We'll have more fuck or fail for you. We'll also have the Tank Shitbird break will be coming up here in a little bit. Just any random items that you had in your head at the moment that you wanted to talk about before we hit this break?
Man, I don't think so. I think we touched on a lot in this episode already, and I'm telling you, promo or porno is my favorite segment by far. I know this is only going to be the third contestant. And who is our contestant tonight?
Our contestant tonight will be former Empire Wrestling Tag Team Champion, the Live Wire Corey Cox. Quite a controversial figure within the wrestling world, and someone I know you deal a lot with. He's probably got a pretty good chance, I'd say.
Yeah, and we got a good chance of going over time, too, but we also got a good chance of being entertained. So, yeah, I think let's kick it to promo or porno. I'm ready.
We're waiting on Mr. Cox, so I'll just run by. It's crazy to me that I'm fucking off the whole month of June. Like, I didn't plan that, but I'm looking at my calendar right now, and I have fucking no wrestling dates in the month of June. So I'm just going to fucking take it easy and do fun stuff with my kid and fucking going up to Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina here in a couple of weeks with the great Muji. That's going to be fun.
What are you doing June 20th?
June 20th, I'm going to Heroes Con.
That's right. Okay.
I cleared that with you, Booker Man.
I know. I can't always remember stuff.
Well, you got to try.
Keep a literal book. You know something I did start this week? I know I'm a decade behind, but I started this show House on the Netflix. Have you ever seen House?
I have seen the house.
It's pretty good. I like it. I'm in season 2. I knocked out season 1 pretty quick, but it's entertaining. The guy's just a bitter old man that just hates everything and just shoots straight with everybody. He reminds me of someone I know. I just can't quite put my finger on it.
I mean, I watched a few episodes. I never really got into it hardcore. I wasn't I didn't think it sucked or anything. It just never struck me in that special place where a show has to strike me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to when fall comes around and my stories return. I'm gonna have to be a little more selective. I'm gonna have to give a couple stories the axe, I think.
What's on the chopping block?
Man, I don't even know. Or maybe I could not watch a show until the season's over and then just watch it all when it comes to Netflix, or maybe download it.
Yeah, you could easily boot something to the Netflix queue. I've done that a few times on shows. I'm like, man, there's just too much shit. Okay, this is going to Netflix, and I'll get to it when I get to it.
I mean, Raw and SmackDown may be victims. Maybe I watch the replays on Hulu or something, but try to just try to read the report and see what looks interesting first, and then just check it out. But yeah, I'm going to have to do something, man. And because you're adding Supergirl. What else is what's the show on CW they're adding?
Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, I got to watch that. It's just they're making it hard.
Legend of Tomorrow is going to be during the mid-season break.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
so they are doing some staggering now. Supergirl and Gotham are going head to head. That's interesting.
Interesting. I think the word you're looking for is dumb.
Yeah, I think it's a stupid move. You're cannibalizing the same people that you're trying to sell your product to.
Yeah. Why are you making your core audience choose? I mean, there's a great chance that if somebody's watching Gotham, they would watch Supergirl. They'd at least give it a try.
Of course, Gotham, a lot of people were hating on it after the first season, so a lot of them might jump over to Supergirl. I mean, in the world of DVR, do you really have to fucking miss anything? But
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Interesting proposition. Interesting. Hey, what about your thoughts on, speaking since we're right before we go to break here and come back with this promo or porno, the Shitbird Break, which is premiered to thunderous ovation last week on the Midnight Black Mass, is back again this week, leading us into various commercial breaks for the Strong Style Psycho Tank. What do you think about all of the massive butthurt that has ensued over the Strong Style Psycho's comments, particularly on social media? This is more of a live version of that. But, boy, there's really been quite a stink amongst the various shitbirds in recent months, or recent days, rather.
I've seen a little bit. I don't know if I've seen it all. What's been said exactly?
Well, this guy I've known this motherfucker. I've not actually known him. I've known of him for years. He used to fucking try to call the Wildside office when I worked down there, trying to get booked all the fucking time, and he was the drizzling shit then.
Big Bank Barfield?
Yeah, he was the drizzling shit then, and he's the drizzling shit now, and he fucking cuts this nonsensical fucking incoherent promo on Facebook, calling out, talking about how he hadn't wrestled in years, and that nobody knew who he was, and he'd never been anywhere, and that he wrestled for the NWA and the AWA. Okay, what the fuck ever. It just makes a total fucking ass out of himself. Comes across half fucking drunk. And of course, Tank's book the match, and he's like, oh no, I'm an MMA fighter now. I don't wrestle anymore. You'll have to come fight me in an MMA fight.
Well, let's book an MMA fight then. I know that's a work too. I've only heard I think 2 people talk about that guy, and that was Phil Shatter, aka TNA's Gunner, and Truett Fields, they used to talk about him. And I was like, man, I've never even heard of this guy, and I've never heard of people talk about him since. And then he pops up. You know, he's just trying to get the rub off some of this attention.
Of course.
But,
I mean, so are we, but he's going about it the totally wrong way.
Oh, yeah, of course. But it's amazing to me that because I watched that match that was posted, and I got to tell you, this guy's pretty bad. He's just all around kind of a shitbird. I mean, he has gear, so that's a plus. I mean, he's putting forth the effort there, but he just was not very good. But he's talking all of this shit. How do people not have any clue that they suck? Like,
I don't understand it.
I was always very, when I was in the ring competing, I was very aware of my shortcomings. Like, I knew what they were, you know, and you try to work on them and you try to come up with something else that works. But I was extremely aware of what they were. These guys, they have no clue. They have no clue how bad they are.
No, they don't. It's just a complete fucking delusional, oblivious world. And like another thing, the guy, he does a fucking rich guy gimmick, right? But he looks like he might fucking maybe be a supervisor of the fucking janitorial staff on a goddamn golf course. You know, like, so who's going to buy the gimmick that he's fucking rich, which is, I mean, that's a common shitbird theme. Certainly not to bite Tank, but if you portray a millionaire and you look like you bought your shit at fucking Walmart, then you probably might be a shitbird. Just throw that out there.
Yeah, definitely a great chance.
So, you know, there's been lots of butthurt ensuing over Tank's comments. But, you know, usually the most offended, like anybody that knows him even knows that, he pokes fun of himself quite often. It's a very tongue-in-cheek thing, but is also, at the same time having a little fun and trying to shed a little light on some of the things that are wrong with wrestling that, could be fixed. It's some fun, constructive criticism. And, if you don't like it,
could see that and say, oh, I do that, maybe I should stop. And if you get offended by it, that clearly means you're a shitbird. Like, why would you get offended by it if you weren't? If you knew he was not talking about you, why would you get upset?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Because he is talking about you.
Yeah, it's the guilt by damnation by association. It's like it's the he who smelt it dealt it theory.
That's a good way to think of it. I hear Tank's going to be getting some shitbird shirt made.
Yes, we'll provide you an update just as soon as those are available, folks, with where you can purchase your very own shitbird and be a part of the shitbird army.
Shitbird army. And sign up for the shitbird service. We want you to be all the shitbird you can be. Did you inform Corey Cox that he was a contestant on Promo or Porno?
I did. We arranged a couple of different times because he had activities going on. So he's like 30 seconds away from the latest that he was supposed to be here. So let's hope he shows up. And if he doesn't, then we'll move along to Dear Andy and we'll come back and finish it up with Promo or Porno.
If he makes the call, maybe he's intimidated. Maybe he heard the first two contestants fail, and maybe the gift certificate to watchingmymomgoblack.com just isn't worth it to him.
Well, if I know Corey Cox, it is quite worth it to him. So possibly it's intimidation, but I doubt that seriously. But there's a couple of other reasons I can think that he didn't show up.
Yeah, he's definitely he's a controversial figure himself. He's not opposed to starting some trouble on the internet and social media and sharing his opinions.
know whether warranted or wanted or not.
Oh yeah, he's a very interesting individual. That's for sure.
He is. Like, I don't agree with a lot of his opinions on wrestling. You know, he's got some unique taste, but he's a fun guy, and like, you know, he entertains me. So I'm all right with having him around most of the time.
And he watches everything. I mean, everything under the sun, pro wrestling wise,
and porno wise.
Of course. Well, that's a given.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll go ahead and kick it to break, and we'll come back with Dear Andy, and I will get the wrestling version of Jay from Jay and Silent Bob on the line. We'll be back with more Midnight Black Mass coming right up.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
Won't you cry? Oh, shitbird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you paint fans on your walls, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird.
Hey, kids. Get your official Midnight Black Mass merchandise just in time for Halloween at midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com. Be the coolest ghoul on the block with your brand new Reject or Midnight Black Mass t-shirt. Get them exclusively online. Online exclusive, people. midnightblackmass.spreadshirt.com.
He's left dozens of women sexually unfulfilled. He's not on speaking terms with any of his ex-lovers. He will unquestionably die alone.
Dear Andy.
And we're back on the Midnight Black Mass. And it's time now for those lonely hearts in Facebook land to get the advice that they need to fulfill their desires in life and in the bedroom. It's time for Dear Andy. What kind of inquiries do we have this week, my man?
Well, we got an interesting email from a lady calling herself Complicated in Kennesaw. She spelled complicated with a K, and I just think that's adorable, sticking to the rhyme scheme there. But her letter starts, Dear Andy, I've recently started dating a man that I was once engaged to. We were engaged several years ago, but it just didn't work out. We've gotten back together, though, and things have been going well. There have been some small problems. I don't think I can trust him to be around other women. I went through his old phone and found what seemed to be hundreds of naked pictures of girls. I occasionally find new text conversation with girls, and he's just definitely flirty. I honestly don't think it's his fault. I think he simply cannot be just friends with girls. I love him, but the flirting is too much, and it's even started on social media for everyone to see. What should I do? Complicated in Kennesaw. Well, complicated. I can tell that you're one of those girls. Nothing I say is going to get through to you. But I have a segment to do, so here goes. It's kind of funny to me, Rev, that these girls make excuses for men's behavior. He can't be friends with girls. Come on, sure he can. There's no rule that says you have to stick every girl you meet. I mean, sure, most of them, but not every girl. If this guy loves you and respects you, he would be able to be just completely normal around chicks. I mean, I get naturally just being flirty. Some men just have that natural charisma about them, like me and Dan. Okay, just me. But the big difference in being naturally flirty and just trying to plant seeds all over town planting seeds for if you two don't work out again, or maybe he's just actually a cheater. I mean, I've been in relationships with the dream girl that makes you forget about every other girl out there. That exists. It's real. But I've also been in the opposite where you want every other girl but the one you have. The old saying, show me the hottest girl on the planet and I'll show you a guy that's tired of fucking her. And that's a true statement. And I don't even think I have time to touch on the fact that you're with a guy that didn't work out with before, you were engaged and that got called off, and you literally said flat out, I can't trust him with other women. That's a whole nother rant for a whole nother episode. But my advice is either dump him or sit him down and have a serious talk about what makes you uncomfortable. Because, I mean, it's kind of just comes across as disrespectful if he's doing this. You know, there's a different, you can be friends with a girl, you can talk to a girl, but where you're just being flirty and then you're taking it to social media, and this poor girl, all of her friends, her family could probably see that. You know, that's crossing the line, I think.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, like, that ain't part of the package, and that's, like, the thing I always say in this segment is communication is everything in a relationship, and so, you know, if that's not cool, like, you got to set your boundaries on what is cool and what ain't cool, and you got to stick with that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, she can do that and go about it without being a complete bitch about it and just kind of being cool and just letting them know what's up, but definitely shouldn't just sit around and take that and act like it doesn't exist or doesn't bother you. I don't know. I don't like the sound of this one at all. Just being engaged years ago. I mean, I wish she would have said how many years, but you know, several years ago, and then you're trying again. Maybe you're at different points in your life, but I just don't know. Hopefully, hopefully some of this gets through, but, you know, a lot of these women, especially the ones that make excuses for the guys, because I just hear that so much, that, well, this happened, or, well, I did this. You know, when women get beat by guys, they're always like, well, I should have known my place. You know, it just makes no sense to me.
No, you got to stand up for yourself, man. Like, a relationship is a fucking 50-50 thing. And if you're pulling fucking 80-20...
60-40. Let's go 60-40.
If you're pulling 80-20 or 90-10, then something's fucking wrong, though.
Oh, yeah. You don't want a 10-90. That's the mullet of relationships. That's no good. But remember, ladies, our catchphrase here at Dear Andy, the balls you step on the way up may be attached to the dick you have to suck on the way down.
That's a fact. You can email your questions for Dear Andy to askandymBM@hotmail.com. He's going to give you the tough love. And it's not limited to ladies, guys. You need some help. You need some romantic advice. Hit him up. He's got the tools you need to be successful, at least in terms of of nailing somebody. Probably. I don't know about.
Well, the terms to not be completely. The terms to not be completely shit on by your significant other, unless you want to be shat on. Now that's up to you.
Yeah, like, we're totally open to whatever, you know, your arrangement or deal is. Just, like, let us know in advance so, like, he knows how to frame the advice. You know, you want to talk about how you like scat and your old lady don't like scat? Well, then there might be deeper issues at play there, but we'll certainly hear you out.
That's right. No topic off limits.
That is right. So another successful edition of Dear Andy comes to a close. We now have our contestant for Promo and Porno on the line, so we're going to take another quick break. We're going to be right back with America's favorite game show. Is somebody going to win the now $50 gift certificate to WatchingMyMomGoBlack.com? Find out right after this.
Because you do not get to win, shitbird. We do.
won't you cry? Oh, shit bird, yeah.
What was it? The shitbird?
And now, the Shitbird Break, featuring your friendly neighborhood strong-style psycho, Tank.
If you've been in the business 15 years and you've never left Chatsworth, Georgia, you might be a shitbird.
This has been the Shitbird Break, featuring the strong-style psycho, Tank. Tune in each and every week on the Midnight Black Mass to find out how you can avoid being a shitbird. In this age of technology, appearance can make or break your franchise. Need to stand out in the crowd? Force FX is proud to work with each and every customer to bring them exciting new designs to reinvent their brand. Satisfaction guaranteed. Custom innovative logos can leave a lasting impression and add just the professional touch needed for you or your business to truly thrive. Let us help you grow with your own custom logo, starting out at the incredibly low price of $25. Force FX knows how to advertise. If you need flyers, business cards, web pages, promos, billboards, signs, or anything else designed differently and expertly, we can help. Send a message today with what you have in mind, and together we can create exactly what you need. The best designs, the best deals, designed differently. Force FX. Find out more at facebook.com/ForceFXDesigns or call 423-637-8784.
Okay, folks, we're back. You know what time it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to America's favorite game show, Promo or Porno.
Welcome to the game show where the balls are always bouncing, the balls are always full, and everybody comes and comes again. It's Promo or Porno. This is your host, the Rev Dan Wilson, alongside the Ed McMahon of podcasts, Andrew Alexander. Andrew, are we going to have a winner tonight?
That is correct, sir. Yes.
Outstanding. At this time, I would like to introduce our contestant. He is a former Empire Wrestling two-time tag team champion, is one half of the Wild Stallions, and still current popular member of the roster and a very controversial social media figure, the Live Wire Corey Cox. Corey, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing well. Tonight was a good night. I'm excited.
Are you
find out about some
you're
pornos,
excited?
some promos.
Well, I happen to know that you're an expert on both. Say it again?
I'm excited. I said, so excited to kick my ass at work today. It was like a great night. It's one of those nights where your blood's pumping, and all night I was thinking about some pornos and some promos.
Yeah, the blood's about to be pumping to your penis when you hear these promo and pornos, and you're playing for that. You're playing for
I'm
that.
I'm getting that gift card. That gift card's mine.
Playing for that gift card, watchingmymomgoblack.com. That's still up in the air. Do you know how the game's played?
Yeah, I definitely have. I listened to the first edition with the great Muji, and I haven't got to the second edition yet, but I heard him, and I feel like I knew the answer he got wrong. I knew that one, man. That gift card was mine that night. That's how I knew I had to be on this show. It was my destiny.
All right. Well, it could be yours, Corey. So for the fans at home that don't know how it's played, we'll run it down briefly. We're going to play an audio clip for our contestant. He has to wait until the audio clip is completely finished. He must tell us if that is from a wrestling promo or a pornographic film. And if he gets all three right, then he is our winner of the gift certificate, $50 to watchingmymomgoblack.com. Are you ready for the first clip, Corey Cox?
Let's get it in.
Here we go.
It is almost as good as tying my man up in the bedroom. I like to be in control, you see. I like to be dominant.
Promo
oh, man.
Or porno?
That I like to be in control. I like to be dominant. That has got to be. I feel like that's probably a wrestling promo. I just don't know who it is. I feel like I recognize the accent. I just don't know who it is. But it sounds like it could be a really ridiculous wrestling promo.
That is correct, sir.
Oh, I was on edge there. I didn't know.
That it was awesome. From a documentary about indie wrestling for women in Australia. The interesting things that you find on YouTube.
I was going to say, you must have dug deep for that one because the accent threw me off. I couldn't think of what valet, of who could have done that particular. I was like, who likes to tie people up besides PMS? And that was neither one of them, but good job.
I heard a little bit of audience in the background, but then it still threw me off because I was like, that could be some weird porno, public game.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I've definitely seen one. I've definitely seen the pornos with the live audience, which that was fucking with me at first when I was picking the clips because it was like, okay, well, if there's audience, it's obviously wrestling. I was like, hey, you know what, fuck it. And sometimes it's good to just throw some red herrings in there. So,
it could be college party porn.
Yeah.
Anytime you hear a voice, it could be college party with them clapping and cheering on.
And
like
the precedents that we've set,
kind of deal.
Yes, the precedents that we've set so far also allow that you just never know. We've thrown some really crazy ones out there that have confused people. So, all right. So you have gotten number one. Here's number two.
Let me give you some advice since obviously you don't have a clue. Look around you. The chances of finding the girl next door in this dump are about as good as finding a princess on a porno set.
Oh, man. I was 100% sure that was porno until they mentioned a porno set. And now I'm thinking, let's see.
Tough question.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know if they'd mention a porno set on a porno, but then again, maybe they would to throw me off. Because they definitely would mention it on wrestling. But just this instance, I'm going to go with porno.
You are correct. It was a porno.
Wow.
2 for 2 here, and one last question to go. And I'm feeling pretty confident for your chances here.
Me too.
What type of porno was that from?
That was it was called The Palmist. And
of course it was.
About a chick who was a psychic and did some other things with her palms.
Magical powers indeed.
So, Corey Cox, 2 for 2. You're right now doing something no one has done so far. You've gotten down to the last question. So
that's what's up.
I'm feeling confident about your chances here.
I've done a lot of things that a lot of people haven't done before, so this wouldn't be the first time, but I'm really excited about it being here.
I haven't thought about this, but not only will he get the gift certificate to watchingmymomgoblack.com, but he will be the first ever winner of Promo or Porno. That can never be taken away from him.
Yes.
No.
That's a good title to have.
That's the inaugural victor. Could it happen? Here is the final clip. Corey Cox, Promo or Porno.
Ooh. Oh, sweet Jesus! What's he gonna feed us?
Man, that audio was very hard to decipher. But I'm going to go with my gut here. Me and the universe are pretty close together. I'm going to say pro wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner. Corey Cox, you have won $50 gift certificate for watchingmymomgoblack.com here on Promo or Porno as the first inaugural POC champion. Wow, man, way to go.
That's what's up. Gift certificates.
Man, the first ever winner of Promo or Porno. It only took us 3 weeks. But still, it's still a huge occasion, something to celebrate.
That's what's up. I'm going to City Cafe and get some hot wings.
Just wash your hands when you get back home before you use the gift card.
I will. I got to. I don't need to get sick again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Promo or Porno. Andy, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think he should go eat the wings and use some of that fiery hot sauce as lubricant and tell us how that works out.
I already know how that'll work out. I've made that mistake several times. Not always on me either. Sometimes, well, sometimes you don't clean the hands as good as you think you do. You give them the old once or twice over, but that sauce is like embedded in the skin, and then you go to like touch a lady or touch yourself, and one of you gets a burning sensation.
Oh, I'm sure it's a sensation that you're used to by now.
That's why I'm the first winner of Porno or Promo, because I've had plenty of experience.
Man, I'm not shocked
only
by
fitting,
but I thought the Great Muji would win the very first episode. I really did.
And I didn't even get to bust out my wrong sound effects.
Let's hear it anyway.
You had it waiting. I know you had it waiting. You were waiting with that finger on the button.
I had it queued. Yeah, I had it queued, and I got nothing. But check it out. Here it is.
That's great.
So, well, that's going to do it for the Promo or Porno segment of the program this week, as well as this week's Midnight Black Mass. For Andrew Alexander and our guest Corey Cox, I am the Reverend. Keep one foot in the gutter and one fist in the gold. Good night.
This has been a production of the Potty Humor Network. Find us online at youtube.com/pottyhumor or subscribe to us weekly and never miss an episode by searching Potty Humor on iTunes or Stitcher. Thank you for listening and good night.